Hun stood before the massive wall in his trophy chamber. Skulls of 100 different creatures lined the walls. Some were small, others were as big as shuttles. Each one represented a hunt that other warriors had called impossible. He was tall, nearly 3 meters high. His scales were dark green and battle-scarred. His eyes were yellow and cold. 4 arms hung at his sides, each one capable of crushing steel. For 300 years he had been the best, the strongest, the most feared hunter in the entire galaxy. Today he was bored. The door to his chamber opened. A small floating robot entered, projecting a hologram. The image showed an old alien with too many eyes. This was Council member, one of the leaders of the Galactic Council. "Hunter Hun," the hologram said, "we have a contract for you." Hun did not turn around. "I do not hunt small prey anymore." "This prey has embarrassed the entire council," said. His voice was tight with anger. 6 months, 23 military fleets, 47 bounty hunter teams, all failed. Now Hun turned, his interest was caught. "What creature is this?" "A human." Hun stared, then he laughed. It was a deep, rumbling sound like rocks falling. "A human? You call me for a human?" Humans were weak, everyone knew this. They had no claws, no natural armor, no venom. They could not even see in the dark properly. Their planet was a backwater world that the galaxy had barely noticed. They were rated as Tier 7 in the danger classification. That meant they were prey animals, things to be ignored. "This human stole the Nexus core," said. Hun stopped laughing. The Nexus core was a weapon, a terrible weapon. In the wrong hands it could destroy entire star systems. It could destabilize reality itself. "How did a human steal it?" Hun asked. "We do not know. His name is Han Min. He was a cargo pilot, nothing special. But 6 months ago he walked out of our most secure facility with the core. Since then he has been running, and we cannot catch him." Hun looked at the hologram more carefully. Something about this was wrong. Humans were not clever enough to do this, were they? "The bounty is 50 million credits," said. "Plus, you may claim any ship he has used. We want him alive if possible, but dead is acceptable. We just need the core back." 50 million credits meant nothing to Hun. He had more wealth than he could spend. But the challenge, a prey that had escaped every other hunter, that was interesting. "Send me all data on this human," Hun said. "I will take the contract." The hologram blinked out. Hun moved to his command center. Files began appearing on his screens. He read everything about Han Min. The human was 32 years old, average height for his species, which meant he was very short. He had black hair and dark eyes. He had been a cargo pilot for 12 years. His record was clean, no crimes, no violence, nothing that suggested he could be a thief. But the tracking data was fascinating. Min had moved through the galaxy like a ghost. He never stayed in one place long. He used old ships, broken stations, places where nobody looked. And somehow he always knew when hunters were coming. Hun smiled. This would be fun. He prepared his ship. It was a small, fast vessel designed for hunting. It had weapons that could crack planets. It had sensors that could track a single molecule across light years. It had everything he needed. The trail led to the Thresh Belt. This was a region of old mining colonies. Most were abandoned now. The rocks here were big and dangerous. Ships crashed here all the time. It was a good place to hide. Hun's sensors picked up energy signatures. Someone was using power on one of the old stations. He moved closer, silent as death. The station was called Haven 9. It had been abandoned for 40 years, but lights were on inside. Someone was there. Hun docked his ship. He moved through the corridors with his weapons ready. The station was cold and dark. His breath made clouds in the air, but his eyes could see in the dark. This was his element. He found the human in the central chamber. Min was sitting on a broken console. He was small, just as the files said. He wore a simple flight suit. A backpack sat next to him. Inside that backpack, Hun's sensors detected the Nexus core. The human was eating something, some kind of ration bar. He looked up when Hun entered, and he smiled. "Took you long enough," Min said. Hun stopped. The human was not afraid. Why was he not afraid? "You know who I am?" Hun asked. "Sure, you are Hun, the galaxy's strongest hunter. You have killed more dangerous things than most people have seen. Your reputation is impressive." The human stood up. He was so small, Hun could break him with one hand. "Give me the core," Hun said. "Come quietly, you will live." "No, I do not think so," Min said. He picked up his backpack. "But I will give you a chance. Leave now, forget this hunt, go home." Hun laughed again. "You threaten me, you are prey, I am the hunter." "Am I?" Min asked. He pressed something on his wrist device. Alarms began screaming. Red lights flashed. Hun's sensors went crazy. The station's reactor was overloading. In 30 seconds, everything would explode. Hun ran for his ship. Behind him, he heard the human running too, but in a different direction. The station shook. Metal screamed. Explosions tore through the corridors. Hun reached his ship and launched. 5 seconds later, Haven 9 exploded. Fire and metal spread across space. His sensors swept the debris. There, a small escape pod made from scraps and old parts, but it was moving fast. The pod jumped to hyperspace and vanished. Hun sat in his pilot chair. His hands were shaking, not from fear, from excitement, and something else, something he had not felt in a very long time. The human had anticipated him. The human had set a trap. The human had escaped. This was not a simple hunt. This was something different. Hun pulled up the data again. He looked at human history. He began to read, and as he read, something cold touched his spine. Humans had no claws, but they had hunted their planet's apex predators to extinction. They had no armor, but they had survived ice ages and plagues. They were weak, but they had conquered their entire world. Hell! Hun set a course to follow the escape pod's trail. His fingers moved across the controls. His mind was racing. For the first time in 300 years, Hun the Hunter wondered if he was truly the predator in this chase. Or if perhaps, just perhaps, he had become the prey. 3 days passed. Hun followed the trail across half the galaxy. The human was clever. He used gravity wells to hide his jumps. He scattered false signals. He moved through shipping lanes where 1,000 ships traveled every hour. But Hun was the best. He found the trail every time. The chase led to IV. This planet was a wasteland. Red dust covered everything. The sun burned hot and angry in the sky. Nothing lived here except small rock creatures that ate minerals. Hun landed near some old ruins. His sensors showed recent activity. Someone had been here, recently. He stepped out of his ship. The heat hit him like a hammer. Even his tough scales felt the burn, but he had hunted in worse places. The ruins were old. Some ancient civilization had lived here once. Now only broken walls remained. Hun moved through them carefully. His 4 hands held weapons. His eyes scanned everything. Then the ground vanished beneath him. Hun fell into darkness. He hit bottom hard. It was a pit, 10 meters deep. The walls were smooth, covered in dust. A pit trap. Hun stared up at the opening above. This was impossible. Pit traps were primitive, ancient. No modern hunter used them. They were from the old days, from times when beings hunted with nothing but sticks and rocks. How did the human know to make this? Hun climbed out easily. His strength and claws made it simple, but the trap had delayed him, and it had made him think. He found a small device near the pit, a data recorder. He activated it. The human's face appeared. Min was smiling. Behind him was what looked like a ship interior. "Hello, Hunter," the recording said. "I imagine you are angry. Good. Anger makes mistakes. But let me teach you something. Your species hunts for glory, for pride, For trophies on walls, my species hunted to survive. We hunted because if we did not, we died. Do you understand the difference? The recording ended. Hun crushed the device in his hand. He returned to his ship and checked the trail. The human had gone to station. Station was a dead place. It had been a research station once. Then an accident happened. Now it floated in space, rotating slowly. No gravity, no power, just empty corridors in the dark. Hun docked with the station. He put on a suit that let him move in zero gravity. His weapons were mag-locked to his body. He entered the station through an airlock. Inside was darkness and silence. His suit lights cut through the black. Dust and debris floated everywhere. This place had been abandoned for 60 years. But someone was here. His sensors detected recent disturbances in the dust patterns. Hun moved through the corridors. In zero gravity, movement was different. You pushed off walls. You floated through space. It took skill. Then cables wrapped around him. They came from the walls, from hidden places. They wound around his arms, his legs, his body. Men had rigged the entire corridor as a trap. Hun roared. His strength was immense. He began tearing the cables. But in zero gravity, every action caused a reaction. As he pulled, he spun. The cables tightened. It took him 10 minutes to break free. 10 minutes where he was helpless. 10 minutes where the human could have killed him if he wanted to. But there was no attack, only another data recorder. Second lesson, Min's recording said. We are not strong like you. We cannot break metal with our hands. So we learn to use the world around us. We learn to make the environment our weapon. Every weakness can become a strength if you are creative enough. Hun was breathing hard, not from exertion, from something else, something he did not want to name. The trail continued to Verdant 7. This planet was covered in jungle, thick, green, deadly jungle. The plants here ate meat. The insects were as big as dogs. It rained poison every few hours. Hun loved jungles. He had hunted in jungles on 100 worlds. This was his territory. But this time felt different. He moved through the undergrowth. His sensors swept constantly. Everything was a threat here. The plants, the animals, the air itself. He found signs of the human. Broken branches, disturbed ground, a path through the jungle. Too easy, this was too easy. Hun stopped. He looked around carefully. Something was wrong. Then he understood. The path was a lure. The human wanted him to follow it. So Hun did not follow. He moved parallel to the path, through the thick undergrowth where movement was hard. 5 minutes later, he found the trap. Where the path led, trees had been cut. They were held up by thin cables. If someone walked below, the trees would fall. Hundreds of kilograms of wood and poison thorns would crush anything beneath. The human had tried to kill him. But Hun had seen through the trap. He was too experienced, too clever. He smiled, and in that moment, something moved in the trees above. Hun looked up just in time to see Min. The human was in the canopy, moving through the trees like he had lived there his whole life, and he was running. Hun gave chase. He was faster, stronger, but in the trees, size was a disadvantage. The human could use smaller branches, could fit through spaces. They ran through the jungle, jumping, swinging. The human was surprisingly good at this. His movements were efficient, no wasted energy. Hun got closer. His hand reached out. He almost grabbed the human's leg. Then Min dropped, just fell straight down through the canopy. Hun looked down and saw water below, a river. The human hit the water and disappeared beneath the surface. Hun dropped down too. He plunged into the river and searched, but the current was fast. The water was murky, and the human was gone. Hun climbed out of the river. He was covered in mud and plants. He stood there, dripping, and realized something. He was being played. Every trap, every encounter. The human was testing him, studying him, learning how he thought, how he moved, what he expected. Hun returned to his ship. He sat in the pilot's chair and thought hard. He pulled up the human history files again. This time he read deeper. He found things he had missed before. Humans were persistent hunters. On their ancient world they had hunted animals by chasing them, not by being faster, but by never stopping. They would chase prey for hours, for days, until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. The humans just kept going. Humans had no venom, but they made poison from plants. They had no claws, but they made knives from stones. They had no armor, but they made shields from wood. Every disadvantage they turned into something else. They adapted. And they never gave up. Their history was full of stories about humans who refused to quit, who fought against impossible odds, who survived when they should have died. Hun felt something he had not felt in centuries, real fear. Not fear of death. He had faced death 1,000 times, but fear of something worse. Fear that he had made a mistake. Fear that he did not understand what he was hunting. His communications console beeped. A message was coming through, from the human. Min's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired. There was a cut on his cheek, but he was smiling. "You are good, Hunter," Min said. "Better than the others. You think, you adapt, you learn, good, but let me ask you something. Why are you hunting me? For the bounty, for the glory, or because someone told you to?" The message ended before Hun could respond. He sat there in silence, looking at the blank screen, and for the first time in 300 years of hunting, Hun asked himself a question. Was he doing this for the right reasons? Or was he just following orders like prey follows instinct? He did not know the answer, and that frightened him more than any trap or chase ever could. 2 weeks passed, the chase continued, but something had changed. Hun was still hunting, but now he was also thinking. He studied humans every night, their culture, their history, their nature. The more he learned, the more questions he had. The new trail led to a planet called Haven's Edge. It was a small world, mostly water, a few islands, no major settlements, just some automated weather stations. Hun's sensors found a heat signature on the largest island. Someone was there, making no attempt to hide. This felt like a trap, but Hun went anyway. He had to know the truth now, about the human, about this hunt, about everything. He landed on the beach. White sand stretched in every direction. Palm-like trees swayed in the wind. The ocean was blue and calm. It was beautiful, peaceful. Min was sitting on a rock near the water. He had no weapons, just his backpack. The Nexus core was inside. Hun could feel its energy from here. The human looked up as Hun approached. He did not run. "I have been waiting for you," Min said. "You want to surrender?" Hun asked. His 4 hands rested on his weapons. "No, I want to talk, really talk. You are different from the other hunters. You think, you question. That is why I have been waiting for someone like you." Hun stopped 10 meters away. "Talk then before I take you." Min smiled sadly. "You still think you can take me. Maybe you can, maybe you cannot, but that is not important right now. What is important is the truth." "What truth?" "The truth about why I took the core. The truth about what the council has been doing. The truth about my people." Hun said nothing. He waited. Min stood up. He reached into his backpack. Hun tensed, but the human only pulled out a small data device. He tossed it. Hun caught it easily. "Watch," Min said. "Then decide if you still want to hunt me." Hun activated the device. A hologram appeared. It showed a woman. She was human, older, maybe 50 years. She wore a scientist's uniform. "My name is Dr. Wu," the woman said. "I am working for the Galactic Council. If you are watching this, I am probably dead. But this information needs to reach someone, anyone who can help." The hologram shifted. Documents appeared, council records, classified files. 20 years ago, I was assigned to study Earth," Dr. Wu continued. "The council said it was routine, but I found something terrible." The hologram showed more files, reports from hundreds of years ago. when the Council first discovered Earth. When the Council found Earth, they did their usual analysis. They studied the dominant species, humans, and they were shocked, not because humans were advanced, but because humans had potential. Dr. Wu's face was sad, angry. The Council has a classification system. They rate species on their threat level, their potential to become dangerous. Most species are rated low, some are rated medium, but humans were rated as Apex Plus. Hun's eyes widened. Apex Plus was the highest rating. It meant a species could threaten the entire galactic order if allowed to develop freely. Why? The hologram continued. Because humans have something no other species has in the same combination. They are adaptable, they are persistent, they are creative, they learn from every failure, they never give up, and most importantly, they work together despite their differences. The hologram showed images from human history. Ancient humans hunting mammoths, building cities, surviving disasters, fighting wars, exploring their world. The Council was afraid, Dr. Wu said. They saw what humans could become, so they created the suppression protocol. They isolated Earth. They prevented human development. They made sure humanity would never reach its full potential. Hun felt cold. This could not be true. The Council protected the galaxy. They kept peace. But the documents looked real. For centuries, the Council has been manipulating us, the hologram said. They gave us just enough technology to keep us happy, but never enough to truly advance. They sabotaged our deep space programs. They made sure we stayed isolated. They wanted us to remain weak, forever. The hologram changed. It showed more recent files. I discovered this by accident. I tried to report it, but the Council arrested me. They were going to kill me. But Han Min, a cargo pilot who happened to be delivering supplies, helped me escape. We went into hiding, and we planned. The image showed the Nexus core. The core is not just a weapon. It contains proof, all the files, all the evidence, everything the Council has done, not just to humans but to other species too. We are not the only ones they have suppressed. Dr. Wu's face filled the hologram. She looked directly at the viewer. Whoever is watching this, please help us. Humanity deserves to be free. Every species does. The Council has become corrupt. They need to be stopped. The hologram ended. Hun stood in silence. The device hung from his hand. His mind was racing. She is dead now, Min said quietly. The Council killed her 3 months ago, but before she died she gave me the core. She told me to run, to survive, to find someone who would listen. Why me? Hun asked. His voice was rough. Because you are famous, respected. If you bring this to the Council, people will listen. If I do it, they will just kill me. I am nobody, just a cargo pilot, but you are the galaxy's strongest hunter. Hun looked at the human, really looked. Min was tired, scared, but still standing, still fighting. The traps, Hun said, the chase, why? I had to know you were smart enough, good enough. If you were just another hunter, you would have died in the traps or given up, but you did not. You kept coming. You learned. You adapted just like a human. Min walked closer. Hun did not move. Let me show you more, the human said. He activated another hologram. This one showed videos, real footage from Earth's history. Hun watched. He saw human soldiers holding a position against impossible odds. They had no chance, but they fought anyway, because their friends were behind them, because someone had to. He saw human explorers dying in frozen wastes, choosing to explore, choosing to learn, even when it killed them. He saw human engineers solving problems no one thought could be solved, making impossible things real through pure determination. He saw a human grandmother fighting off a large predator to protect her. She was old, weak, but she fought anyway, because that was what humans did. We do not have claws, Min said softly. We do not have armor or venom or strength, but we have something better. We have spite. We have stubbornness. We have the refusal to accept that something cannot be done. We endure. Hun sat down on the sand. His legs felt weak. This was too much. Everything he thought he knew was wrong. The council fears you, he said finally, because you never stop. Yes, and they are right to fear, because now we know. Now we understand what they did to us, and we will never forgive. We will never forget. We will be free, no matter what it costs. Han looked at his weapons, then at the human, then at the ocean. What do you want from me? He asked. Help us, stand with us, not because we are strong, but because we are right. The council has committed crimes. They need to answer for them. They will kill us both. Probably, Min agreed. He smiled. But we will make them work for it. That is the human way. Hun stood up. His decision was made. But before he could speak, alarms blared from his ship. His sensors screamed warnings. Ships were coming, council enforcers, at least 20 of them. They had been tracking Hun, waiting for him to find the human, and now they were here to eliminate both of them. They must have placed a tracker on your ship, Min said. He looked at the sky. The ships were visible now, black dots growing larger. They want us both dead, Hun said. Yes, because you know too much now. Hun looked at the human. Then he made a choice that would change everything. Then let us give them a fight they will never forget, he said. His 4 hands drew his weapons. We stand together. Min smiled, a real smile, full of that human determination, that spite. Together. The ships landed on the beach. Soldiers poured out, armed, armored, ready to kill. Commander stepped off the lead ship. She was tall and thin. Her species had 6 limbs and skin like black metal. Her eyes glowed red. She had killed more rebels than anyone in the council's forces. Hunter Hun, she called across the beach. Step away from the human. The council will forgive your mistakes. You were deceived. Hun did not move. I was deceived, but not by the human. His eyes narrowed. Then you choose death. How disappointing. You were legendary. I still am, Hun said. He raised his weapons. 20 soldiers spread out across the beach. They carried plasma rifles, energy shields, enough firepower to level a building. Min stood next to Hun. He looked very small next to the giant hunter. He had only a small pistol and his backpack with the core. Do you have a plan? Hun asked quietly. Yes, we survive. That is the plan. That is not much of a plan. It is the only one we need, Min said. Welcome to the human way of doing things. Raised her hand. The soldiers aimed their weapons. But before she could give the order to fire, Min moved. He pressed something on his wrist device. The sand beneath 3 soldiers exploded. He had buried charges while waiting. The soldiers flew through the air. Now, Min shouted. Hun charged. His 4 arms swung his weapons. He was a storm of destruction. His scales deflected the first shots. He reached the nearest soldier and his strength was overwhelming. The soldier's armor crumpled like paper. Min ran in the opposite direction, toward the trees. Soldiers chased him. They thought he was running away, but Hun had learned better. The human was never just running. Min reached the tree line and vanished. The soldiers followed. Then cables snapped tight. Trees that had been cut and rigged fell. 2 soldiers went down, crushed. The human had been preparing this, just like he had prepared every other place. Spread out, commanded. Kill them both. The battle spread across the beach and into the jungle. Hun fought like he had never fought before. Not for glory, not for a trophy, but for something that mattered. He took wounds, plasma burns across his scales. A blade cut one of his arms, but he kept fighting, and he noticed something strange. Every time he was in trouble, the human was there. A shot from the trees would take down a soldier about to attack Hun from behind. A small explosive would distract enemies at just the right moment. They were working together, without speaking, without planning, like they had fought together for years. Min appeared next to Hun behind a large rock. The human was bleeding from his side. A wound from a plasma shot. It looked bad. You are injured, Hun said. I am fine, Min said. He was not fine. Humans bled easily, but he kept moving anyway. He reloaded his pistol with shaking hands. You need medical attention. Later, after we win. We cannot win, there are too many. Min smiled. Blood stained his teeth. Then we make them pay for their victory. Something shifted in Hun. He had seen many brave things in his life, but this was different. This human was dying. He knew it, but he refused to stop, because that was not what humans did. They endured. Stay here, Hun said. I will finish this. No, Min said. We fight together or we die together. That is the deal. Before Hun could argue, more soldiers appeared. They had been flanking. Now they surrounded the rock, 10 of them, all with weapons aimed. Surrender, one called. Last chance. Min looked at Hun. The human's eyes were bright with fever and determination. Last stand, he asked. Last stand, Hun agreed. They stood up together, back to back. The hunter and the prey, but Hun did not see prey anymore. He saw a warrior. The soldiers fired. But then someone else arrived. A small ship screamed down from the sky. It was old and patched. It fired at the soldiers. Not military-grade weapons, just civilian guns, but enough to scatter the enemies. The ship landed hard. The door opened. A young human woman jumped out. She had short hair and wore an engineer's coveralls. She carried a large wrench. Men, she shouted, get to the ship. Hey, Min looked shocked. What are you doing here? Saving you, obviously. The woman fired a small weapon at approaching soldiers. Dr. Wu sent me coordinates before she died, said you might need help. She was right. More soldiers were coming. Herself was approaching now. Her personal weapons were much stronger than the others. Go, Hun said to Min, I will hold them. You will die, Min said. Perhaps, but you will live. The core will be safe. That is what matters. Min grabbed Hun's arm. Listen to me, Hunter. I did not run across the galaxy for 6 months just to watch new friends die. We all leave, or none of us do. How, Hun asked. We cannot fight them all. Hay smiled. She held up a small device. The core is not just a weapon. Dr. Wu taught me how to use it. I can create an energy pulse. It will knock out all electronics in the area, including their weapons, but we only have one shot. Do it, Min said. It will knock out our ship too, Hay warned. We will be stranded. Then we will find another way, Min said. That is what humans do. We adapt. Was close now. Her weapons charged. Energy crackled in the air. Now, Min shouted. Hay activated the core. Light exploded across the beach. Every weapon died. Every ship powered down. Even Hun's equipment stopped working. But Hun did not need weapons. He had strength. He had claws. He had 300 years of experience. And now he had friends worth fighting for. He charged at. She was strong too. They fought hand to hand, claw against blade, strength against speed. Behind them, Min and Hay fought the soldiers with whatever they could find, rocks, sticks, the wrench. They were weak and wounded, but they did not stop. Hun and exchanged blows. She cut him. He broke her arm. She kicked him. He threw her into a tree. Finally, Hun stood over her, his foot on her chest, his claws at her throat. Why, gasped, why betray the council for prey? They are not prey, Hun said. They are warriors, they are survivors, they are everything we should be. The council is wrong, and you are wrong for serving them. He did not kill her. That was not necessary. He just knocked her unconscious. The other soldiers were down too, defeated or fleeing. The humans had won, through intelligence, through determination, through never giving up. Hun walked back to where Min sat on the sand. The human's wound was worse now. He was very pale. We need to get you help, Hun said. My ship has medical supplies, Hay said. She was already moving toward it. It is not much, but it will keep him alive. Hun picked up Min gently. The human was so light, so fragile, but he had fought like a titan. As they moved toward the ship, Min spoke. His voice was weak. "Do you believe us now, about the council?" "Yes," Hun said, "I believe." "Will you help us?" Hun looked at the human in his arms, at Hay working frantically to get her ship running again, at the defeated soldiers scattered across the beach. "I will do more than help," Hun said. "I will stand with you before the entire galaxy. I will make them listen." Min smiled, then his eyes closed. He passed out from pain and blood loss. Hay got the ship running, barely. The core's pulse had damaged it, but it could fly. That was enough. They lifted off from Haven's edge. Behind them, council ships were coming. More of them, many more. But Hun was no longer hunting. He was no longer alone. He was with humans, and humans never gave up. The real battle was about to begin. The ship limped through space for 3 days. Min survived, barely. Hay's medical supplies were basic, but they were enough. Hun used his personal communications network to call allies, other hunters he had worked with over the centuries, warriors who respected him, merchants who owed him favors. He told them everything. Some did not believe him, some cut contact immediately, but others listened, and word began to spread. The galaxy's strongest hunter had switched sides. On the 3rd day, Min woke up. He was weak but alive. The wound had closed. He would have a scar, but he would live. "Where are we going?" he asked. "To the Galactic Assembly," Hun said. "To the heart of the Council itself. We will make them answer for their crimes." Min sat up slowly. "They will kill us the moment we arrive." "Perhaps, but I sent messages to many beings. Some will be there, some will watch. The Council cannot silence everyone, not anymore." Hay worked at the ship's controls. Her hands moved fast over the damaged systems. "The core has all the evidence, every file, every document, everything Dr. Wu collected. We just need to transmit it, but we need to be close enough that they cannot jam the signal." "How close?" Hun asked. "Inside the assembly chamber itself." Hun smiled. It was a dangerous smile. "Then that is where we will go." They approached the assembly station. It was huge, a massive structure that held representatives from thousands of worlds, the center of galactic government. Council warships surrounded them immediately, 20, 30, more arriving every minute. "Hun," a voice said over communications. It was council member. "Surrender the human and the device. You will be pardoned. This does not have to end badly." "It already ended badly," Hun said. "When you decided to suppress entire species, when you decided to play God with civilizations, when you lied. We protect the galaxy. You protect your power, nothing more." Hun cut the connection. He looked at the two humans. "Are you ready?" Min checked his pistol. It was almost empty. He smiled anyway. "I have been ready for 6 months." Hay held up the core. "Dr. Wu died for this. We finish her work, no matter what." The ship moved forward. The warships did not fire. They could not. Too many eyes were watching now. Hun's messages had spread. Journalists, independent observers, other species governments, everyone wanted to see what would happen. The council was trapped. If they killed Hun publicly, they would look guilty. If they let him speak, the truth would come out. They chose to let him dock, but soldiers waited inside, hundreds of them. Hun, Min, and Hay walked through the corridors of the assembly station. Soldiers lined the walls, weapons aimed, but no one fired. They reached the main chamber. It was enormous. Thousands of representatives sat in circular rows, beings from every part of the galaxy, all watching. At the center was the council, 12 members, the most powerful beings in the galaxy, was there, and others, all looking at Hun with anger and fear. Hun said, his voice echoed through the chamber, "You bring criminals before us, you dishonor yourself." "No," Hun said, his voice was louder, stronger. "I bring witnesses, I bring evidence. I bring the truth you have hidden for centuries." He walked to the center of the chamber. The two humans followed. They looked small and fragile in this place of giants, but they stood tall. "The Council has committed crimes," Hun said, "against humanity, against other species. They have suppressed development. They have manipulated civilizations. They have become the very thing they claim to protect us from, tyrants." "These are lies," another council member shouted. "Then explain this," Hay said. She activated the core. Holograms filled the chamber, documents, video, evidence, everything Dr. Wu had collected. The chamber erupted in noise, representatives shouting, arguing, some demanding answers, some defending the council. Hun raised his forearms. "Silence." His voice cut through the chaos. Everyone stopped. The galaxy's strongest hunter commanded respect even here. "I have lived for 300 years, Hun said. "I have hunted across 1,000 worlds. I have seen the best and worst of every species. And I tell you now, the Council is wrong about humanity." He turned to Min. The human stood there, wounded, tired, but unbroken. "Humans have no claws," Hun continued. "No armor, no venom. They are weak by our standards, but they have something we have forgotten. They have determination, they have adaptability, they have the refusal to accept defeat." He moved closer to Min. The entire galaxy watched. This human was hunted by 23 fleets, by 47 hunting teams, by me. He should have died 100 times, but he survived, not through strength, through intelligence, through creativity, through never giving up. Hun's voice grew stronger. The Council classified humans as Apex Plus threats. They were right to be afraid, but not for the reasons they think. Humans are not a threat because they are violent. They are a threat because they are unstoppable, because they adapt, because they endure. He gestured at the evidence still playing in holograms around them. The Council has suppressed dozens of species, kept them weak, kept them controlled, all to maintain power. This ends now. The Council acts for the greater good. We maintain peace. "You maintain oppression," Hun said, "and I will not serve you anymore." Then he did something that shocked everyone, something that had never been done in the Assembly's 1,000-year history. Hun, the galaxy's strongest hunter, knelt before Han Min. The chamber went silent, completely silent. "In my culture," Hun said, "we kneel only for those who have bested us in ways that transcend combat. Han Min, you taught me what true strength means. You showed me that power is not in muscles or weapons. It is in will, in spirit, in the refusal to break." He bowed his head. "I bow not because you defeated me, but because humanity defeated something greater. You defeated despair. You climbed from caves to stars with nothing but your determination. You survived ice ages. You conquered your world. And you did it without any of the advantages other species have." Hun raised his head. He looked at all the representatives. "Imagine what humans will do now that they are free. Imagine what they will become, not as conquerors, but as partners, as allies, as the unstoppable force they have always been." He stood, but he kept his hand on Min's shoulder, a gesture of respect and friendship. "The vote must be called," Hun said. "Humanity deserves full species rights, a seat on this council, freedom to reach the stars, justice for what was done to them." "And if we refuse?" His voice was cold. "Then the evidence will be released to every network in the galaxy," Hay said. She held up the core. "Everyone will know what you did. Your power will crumble. Choose." The council members looked at each other. They were trapped. The truth was out. They could not stop it now. The vote was called. It took 3 hours. Representatives argued. Some wanted humanity destroyed before they became too powerful. Others were horrified by what the council had done. Still others saw opportunity in human potential. Finally, the vote came. By a margin of 12 votes, humanity was granted full species rights, a seat on the council, freedom to develop without interference. The chamber erupted again. but this time in celebration and concern. The galaxy had changed forever. Min looked at Hun. "Thank you," he said simply. "No," Hun said. "Thank you for showing me what I had forgotten. That true strength is not in what you can destroy, but in what you refuse to let be destroyed." 3 weeks later, Min stood on Earth, in a small city where his family lived. His sister Mira ran to him. She hugged him tight. Her son Wu, only 8 years old, stared at Min with wide eyes. "Uncle, did you really go to space? Did you really meet aliens?" "Yes," Min said. "He picked up his nephew, and I brought a friend." Hun stood nearby. He looked strange here, huge and alien, but Mira walked up to him without fear. "Thank you for protecting my brother," she said. "He protected himself," Hun said. "I merely recognized what he was, a warrior, a survivor, a human." Above them the sky was full of ships, human ships, being built in orbit, preparing to explore, to reach out, to join the galaxy. Wu pointed up. "Mom, can I go to space someday?" Mira smiled. "Yes, my son, the stars are yours now, all of you, finally." Hun watched the ships and thought about the future. Humans would spread across the galaxy. They would adapt to every environment. They would solve every problem. They would never stop, never give up. Some species would fear them. Some would resist. But eventually, everyone would understand what Hun had learned. Humans were not conquerors. They were survivors. And in a dangerous galaxy, survival was the greatest strength of all. Min stood next to him. "What will you do now?" the human asked. "I will hunt again," Hun said. "But this time I hunt for justice, for truth, for the weak who cannot protect themselves. You taught me that hunting has purpose beyond trophies. Will you stay in contact? Always, you are my friend, and humans keep their friends, yes." "Yes," Min said. He smiled. "We do." They stood there together, the hunter and the human, looking at the stars, at the future, at the infinite possibilities ahead. The galaxy had asked a question. Why did the strongest hunter bow to a human? The answer was simple, because he finally understood what strength really meant. And that understanding would change everything.